Hi. Very good morning. This is Krishan Srinivasan, a fine art photographer, a long distance skater, and a small time freelance skater who does cross training process such as walking and bicycling for my long distance skating. Has come to meet you guys with another video. Enough of that bragging and a lot of things that I do. It's nothing just to keep me active. As simple as that. Okay. So what do I got for you today? You might have seen that small clip. Okay. Yes, that's the idea of the entire episode. I just want to give a proposal of having a Silver Efex Pro raw editor, raw image editor, a non-destructive raw image editor here. Okay, so what are all the elements that can go in that Silver Efex Pro raw image editor, and what are all the things that I do, culminated into that point or converged me into that point of giving a proposal for having a uh, raw image editor exclusively designed only for black and white images. Okay, so yes, raw image itself is cannot be a black and white image, but unless and until it is coming out of a monochrome sensor, it will have color information if you're going to shoot with any Bayer sensor or any sensor that has a color filter array. Okay, so it'll, but what essentially that can do is like a raw image editor or a raw image will have a huge amount of information that we can't even imagine. Okay, so from a huge amount of information we can extract 32-bit image, then come down to 16-bit and export it to 8-bit for printing and stuff like that. Okay, so that is my proposal, and that's the entire motto of this video. Okay, so I have disclosed the entire plot of it, but let's go see like how interesting it can be if you're going to have something like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell you what I do. Okay, so say like this is a folder from 2021. Okay, I've got these many folders which I posted it to online gallery of mine, which is in Fine Art America and also in Flickr. Right now I don't print images and sell it for Indian customers by myself, while the print is available on Fine Art America for you to go and purchase. Okay, so these folders are yet to be written into my M disk or a Blu-ray M disk. Okay, it's waiting there. I need to add few more images. I don't post on galleries most often, only because like I need to get to save and afford those gallery fees, so I'm saving for it. So right now it's on free account, so I have limited number of images to upload, so hence I don't upload often. Hence it got accumulated. Okay, as you can see in 2021 I was posting at least one photo a week, so that would be a great example for now. So let's take the example of editing in raw image, as in like a RAF file, which is a raw image file which I get from Fuji X Pro 2 just as I shoot it. I shoot raw. I don't shoot as a baked image effect that Fuji X Pro 2 is offering to us, or any Fuji cameras is offering to us. Fuji's JPEG images are extremely good that you can straight up use it or upload it to your Instagram page or any other photography page. They are so good. But I shoot raw. I love the image tweaking stuff that I do with a raw image. I love to do that a lot. I would like to play with the raw image file, hence this. So this is the raw image file which I shot somewhere in Mukambu Dam when I was there sometime long back. Okay, and I was able to take this photograph with Fuji X Pro 2 and Optica 12mm lens. Okay, so you can find the EXIF data, but there won't be a EXIF data for my lens because it's a manual lens. Okay, so that's that. So let's see like what I do with this. Okay, so I have a raw file and then I bring that to Affinity Photo. Just to save the time, I've already opened it for you and also have done the edits. Okay, so once I get this image into this raw file, Affinity Photo, so Affinity Photo, what it has is like it has 5 personas. They call it personas. It could be different tabs that does different things. Okay, so first thing is the edit table over here, which you see here, which is more like a Photoshop interface. Okay, or if you are using Krita, an open source image editor, where did that go? Okay, yeah, here is Krita. Krita also has almost similar Photoshop interface. So it's more like a Photoshop interface where you edit the image. Okay, but as soon as you open a raw image on a Affinity Photo, okay, so it won't genuinely open it straight away to this persona. What it does is like there are many other personas, as I told you, right? So this one is photo persona. It appears like a Photoshop. Next one is liquify persona, where you squeeze, stretch, and do all the funny things for the image if need may. Then next comes the persona called develop persona, and then comes the persona called tone mapping persona, which is mostly used for editing HDR images, which goes into the display of digital signage and presentations wherever that is there on a restaurant or malls and stuff like that. Okay, the last one is export persona. So they have 5. It could be anything. It could be in different forms in different places. It's like calling the same product with different languages, and it's going to have a different name, obviously. So it's more like that. So as soon as I open a raw file, it'll get into the develop persona. This is the window you will face with. Okay, as soon as I open Affinity Photo, if you had followed my previous video, it will open here, and this gives me access to a complete true raw image that I can have access to. So whatever exposure controls that I do, enhance the image, contrast and stuff like that, white balance, shadows, and I can apply color profiles that I need. I usually shoot in Fuji X Pro 2 in Adobe RGB RAW, so I keep that here. If not, like I would choose Adobe RGB 1998. Okay, so then I can do a lens profile correction if need may. My optical lens is not available with Affinity Photo, but there are quite a lot of lens profile correction that is available, and especially if you are using Fuji lenses, they have got it covered for most of the lenses that is available in the market. Okay, so I can do all the lens correction, aberration corrections, and difference and stuff like that. I can do increase or decrease details, increase or decrease noise, stuff like that. Then adjust the tones and overlays. This is for particularly adjusting a single element of a photograph in a raw image. I'm talking about the raw image. So you consider this particular part of the shadow is a little bit lighter, if you can observe, So if I want to adjust that particular part of the photograph, I just go draw overlay like this, and I move to the basic, and I can adjust the if whatever that highlight is or the lightness of that particular part of the image. So that I can do over here. There are much more like that. Okay, so right now I don't want to bake in that into my image. Okay, I'm going to say undo, and you can see the preview of your image here. Okay, so this is the basic develop persona. In a develop persona is more like a raw image editor, but it's going to look in a Photoshop format inside Affinity Photo. Okay, so once I am done with it, I'll say develop. Once I hit develop, it'll go into the once I say develop, it'll go into the photo editor format. So once it moves my file from like develop persona to the photo editor format, this is what happens. You have few options to do that. Okay, if I go to preferences, it will definitely give me the option over here, as in like when I bring from each persona, I can actually change things. I don't want to show it right now. It will take more time for me to explain. So what I'll do is like I'll just give you an overview. So what it gives me the options here is like from develop persona, I can bring the image just as in like 32-bit here into the photo editing table. Okay, or I can step down to 16-bit or step down to 8-bit. Okay, so what I usually do is I convert that to 16-bit here without telling you that it has been converted to 16-bit. So whenever I bring develop a raw file from develop persona and bring it to the photo editing table, as when I say develop, it's going to convert it to a 16-bit image. That is what is actually needed, because if I have to edit this in Silver Efex Pro, coming back to the plugin, I always shoot my photographs in black and white. Okay, so if I have to show you my raw file, it might appear in color, but I will shoot with the preset applied, as in like even in the rear view display that I have in Fuji Export. If I'm going to look the image over there, I would have applied acros with red, or like any other preset that Fuji Export 2 has to offer for me. So I always look the image in black and white and shoot image in black and white. Even with the EVF, if I have to shoot with EVF, I will do that. But I don't use EVF. I bought it for using like a rangefinder camera. So anyways, but what I'm trying to say here is like I always shoot in black and white and edit in black and white. Okay, so or you can classify as monochrome. So what I would do is like I'll go select the brought so said to be the raw file here, and I'll go to the plugins and open that in Silver Efex Pro. Now this image will be opened in Silver Efex Pro. It's going to take some time, but it's going to open. Okay, so it's popping in front of me, forgive me. So once that image is opened in Silver Efex Pro, it's going to take some time. I'm doing a screen recording video and stuff like that. Hence, I opened already edited image, so it will be easy for my computer and Silver Efex Pro to open it much early. Yes, I crop my image for widescreen format, hence you don't find that complete resolution of the Fuji Export image. So once I go here, I start editing stuff in Silver Efex Pro. Okay, and I do whatever the edits that I have to do with Silver Efex Pro. So what are all the things that is available with Silver Efex Pro which makes it to be more unique? Okay, so Silver Efex Pro has the global adjustments here, like brightness, contrast, structure, but it has more finer adjustments, as minuscule detail adjustments within brightness, contrast, and structure. You can see highlights, midtones, shadows, and dynamic brightness. Okay, so it can adjust to very little things in this image. So I can go and increase the brightness on the whole for the highlights, midtone, shadows, and dynamic brightness that is set here, or I can just fine tune the highlights, fine tune the midtones alone, shadows alone, and dynamic brightness alone, and adjust the global adjustment for brightness. Okay, so do you follow? So there are very minuscule adjustments that can be done, not as a brightness slider that you saw in the develop persona or wherever you saw in the image editor. So that's what it makes it even more special. And what is even more special with Silver Efex Pro is like this has the U control points. These control points, I can put it there straight away, and it has some adjustments over here, like brightness. I can reduce the brightness of the shadow. I told you right before. So I felt like this to be a little brighter, so I can increase the contrast of that particular spot in the image, or like I can increase the sharpness of that particular part in the image, and I can adjust the radius of that U control point over here. And if I have to replicate that, I hold on to Alt and copy that over here, so I can kind of multiply this and I have as many U points in the image to control that particular area of that image, and all in black and white. Okay, so then I can remove one of the color filter arrays that has been applied to the image. So I can remove the color filter array for red, I can remove it for orange, I can remove it for yellow, I can remove it for green, I can remove it for blue. Okay, usually you will find are red, green, and blue in the color filter array that is there in front of the sensor. So it could be it is called as Bayer sensor, but in Fuji Export 2 it's called X-trans sensor, because like they have a different pattern for that color filter array. Okay, so Bayer pattern and X-trans patterns are very different. We have spoken about this in one of our episodes. Okay, so we can remove those things, and And what do we have here is the film types. That is the more and more unique thing about Silver Efex Pro, wherein like I can emulate the look of a particular film that was introduced in this world in over 100 years. Okay, so we have various films over here, and with the latest version of Silver Efex Pro, I'm talking about I have a Silver Efex Pro 2, but if you go to the latest version of Silver Efex Pro, you might have even more film options over here. So you can apply this to our image. I usually go for Act 400, and I can go adjust the sensitivity of the red here. I have the ability to remove or remove red, RGB, and additional orange and yellow colors or filters that is there. Okay, or I can increase or decrease the effect of those colors here. So look at the control that it gives for the black and white image alone. Okay, we are talking about a black and white image. Okay, and I can adjust the shadows, adjust midtones, highlights, and everything from here. Okay, and for a finishing adjustment, you can adjust the tones. It gives you so much options. Okay, I can do whatever I want with this image. I can add vignetting, and all that. If I have to, add frames for particular thing, I can go ahead and add a frame for my image and all that. So this is possible here. So if I want to add, what I meant by frame is like image border, so I can add as much image borders that I want. This applies to the image which is not cropped, but like you get the idea, right? So Silver Efex Pro 2 not only lets you do your own adjustment, it also offers much presets over here onto the left. So this is the unique selling point of Silver Efex Pro. So they already have some presets. You can apply that and develop on that preset, as in like a preset might give you one particular setting like this. Okay, so then I go and work on the adjustments and improve on that. That's what I usually do. And if I like one particular preset, or like I have done something before, I can save that preset. So this is Krish Arts and Photography. That is what KAAP stands for, Krish Arts and Photography. So I created my own preset, and I would go and apply that preset and develop my own thing for that image after that, and say okay, which means like when I say okay, the Silver Efex Pro would oh, my Affinity Photo quit today. Let's open it again. So when I say cancel, when I say okay, what it would do is it will bake in all the adjustments that you did into the image of Affinity Photo. I'm just giving you an overview of what I'm doing. This detail is very important because like this could be a possible element that we can expect in a raw image editor. Okay, so I don't want to open the recovery file, so what I'll do is like I'll just open the same file again. So okay, let that come in. It's going to take some time. So the file has come. So this is what you will see when you actually immediately bring in Silver Efex profile. This is yeah, okay, that's fine. So my computer got probably overheated. It's running at 90 degrees Celsius right now. So what you have here is the raw image or the baked in effects from Silver Efex Pro, presented to you within Affinity Photo. It's still in 16-bit format. From here, what you can do is like you can go ahead, apply the shortcut, and export the file to the required file format that you want: PNG, JPEG, TIFF. You can also save it as a PSD file and import it into After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro, or any other editing software. So for when you do further corrections to the images, when you have the edit file presented in the timeline, it will automatically update for that if you save it as a PSD and import it in there. So you can do whatever you want with this, and later send it for printing and stuff like that. Okay, this is the basic workflow in Affinity Photo. So what I want to talk about here is more important. Okay, so with Photoshop, what it does is like when you say like file, it does similar thing as in like Affinity Photo. So it opens in Silver Efex Pro, then you do the image editing and you save the file. It'll open it as a new file here in Photoshop or something, as I remember, if not correct me. And then you got to save it as a JPEG image, right? So there is a process here. What is that process? First, it's a raw image file. From raw image file, what you're doing is, you're baking in your basic raw image editing, if you have so. And in Photoshop, you have the camera raw, right? So it's going to edit a basic raw image and bring it into Photoshop, right? So that is what we are doing with Affinity Photo in the developer persona, and then we bring it into photo editing table as a 16-bit file. So this 16-bit file is not yet TIFF. It's not telling you that it's a TIFF, but it is within Affinity Photo. It could be TIFF, it may not be TIFF. I do not know what is that. Okay, so we are converting it to 16-bit, and then we are taking into Silver Efex Pro. Okay, then FX Pro. Forgive me. I'm writing with my mouse. I can't access my Hue on tablet because I have some cues with my mobile phone. So then you bring it back to Affinity Photo and export the file, right? So we have 4 processes over here. And what is happening is, like, this is a non-destructive workflow as long as you are able to save the Affinity file in your hard drive, like I did, and you export an additional file called whatever image format that you're saving is in a JPEG or PNG, or which is called as a 8-bit file. Okay, so it goes through this much of process when you actually edit in Affinity Photo. Let me remove that for you. So okay, so I'm going to close Affinity Photo. We don't need it right now. So that's the working process with Affinity Photo. So what it does is, like, this is my basic raw file. This basic raw file is 50 MB, and additionally Affinity Photos file is added here after editing with Silver Efex Pro, which is 240.3 MB, and I exported a 8-bit file which is in JPEG, and which it contributes to 21.7 MB depending upon the size of the or the details that is there in the image. Okay, the size of the 8-bit file will be determined. Okay, so since this has so much of intricate details in the sans, it's causing to be much higher of the image size. Otherwise it will be small, as in like within 20 MB or 15 MB for a JPEG of this size. Okay, so this is about 19 megapixel when I export it after the widescreen crop that I apply to Fuji X Pro files, which is 24 megapixels. Okay, so look at the image size here, 50 MB, then 240 MB, which is almost like 290 MB, then plus 21.7 MB, which is making it to 310 MB or so or more. Okay, so it's an approximate value that I give you. If you want to know the exact value, which will add to my video length, but okay, 50.23 and plus 21.7, so it gives me 312 MB of file size for one particular photograph. So I might do a much bigger photo walk. I might get 1000 images, 1500 images, 2000 images. Imagine the file size and all that. This is still non-destructive. I have a separate Affinity Photo file, a edited file, and the output from that edited file. Okay, and all that. So what is the catch here is, like, I have to always use Affinity Photo or for a certain period of time, as long as I have to print this file for in the future. Okay, I have to have a copy of Affinity Photo with me. So if this is 2024, right? In 2034, I still have to have Affinity Photo if I have to have access to these edit files. Okay, if I am thinking far ahead, I might convert this Affinity Photo file to a PSD file and keep it separately, so that if I happen to get a Photoshop, I can go ahead and edit that file in 2034 and do that. Okay, but I have to hold on to a copy of Affinity Photo file for my old edits. Do you follow? It's how difficult it is. Okay, this is non-destructive editing, but I'll still need Affinity Photo for doing this. Okay, and it is increasing the hard disk space. Okay, so that is first point. Second thing is I have a open source raw editor. That is where I'm heading at. So you could say like I can always go ahead and edit a photograph in a raw image editor. So what is the advantage of raw image editor? I select that image that I want to edit. This is darktable. I go to darktable. Okay, so I apply whatever changes that I had to do. Okay, and I edit that image. Say for now, like I'll convert it to monochrome or something for your temporary viewing. Okay, and then I go back here and export the file. Okay, so when I export the file will be saved down in the hard drive, where that is also a photograph which I took during my walking sessions, taken with Xiaomi Poco F when I edited with preview in Apple OS. But see, when I edit that image in darktable, what happens is like darktable creates a .xmp file. Okay, it doesn't do anything else. All we have is a raw edited file, raw file from your camera, and darktable generates a .xmp file. So if this .xmp file is nothing but a piece of code having all the corrections or the adjustments that you did to the file. Okay, so it might say like see here, you might pick up few words that it can give you. So these are the parameters I adjusted. Okay, it might say like I adjusted that brightness, or I adjusted converted it to a monochrome, all that. It will have that code. That's it. It's only about 7 KB in size, 7 KB in size. So your file size is completely reduced in terms of a raw photo editor. Okay, so that is a very big advantage in terms of raw photo editor, which is non-destructive image editing. As in, like, I have the raw file here with me, it is undamaged. There is no changes applied to it, and all the editing data that I have is stored in a .xmp file, which is almost equal to a text file, and it has only the codes inside. And if I go back into editing the same file, I can do whatever I want. So what are the advantages of a raw image editor? First, the file size. Second thing is non-destructive editing. Then third thing is I can apply everything that I want to do. So I could go ahead and do color correction. Okay, I can apply adjustment to the tone curves. Okay, I can apply or not apply. Okay, do you follow what I'm saying? I can apply masks, like if I have to retouch this photograph, where is this retouch? Okay, say I don't like this particular part of the stone lying over there. I'll zoom in for you. What I'll do is like I'll just try to remove that particular stone. Okay, I'll increase the brush size. Okay, where is that brush size? I flipped it. I accidentally flipped it. It's my bad. So probably I'll try to rotate it once. Okay, so I'm trying to zoom out, but yeah. Say, okay, we'll remove this leaf over here. Okay, so I'll just remove that leaf for you. So the leaf is removed. I'll place the retouch and all that. You can do all this masking exclusively, for one particular thing in the image, and edit the image, color correct, convert it to monochrome, lens correction, all rotate, denoise and all that. It offers you lot many things as any photo image editor that you find, Affinity Photo or Photoshop. Or I can compare it to a Capture One or a Luminar Flow, or to Lightroom Classic or Lightroom and all that. Apply vignetting, watermark. I can even apply the frames, for printing. I can add watermark, whatever of that I wanted to add it to. Say like in this case, this is going to add a very big dark table thing. I wanted to add my krish arts and photography watermark. Probably not that one, not that intrusive, probably this one. Yeah, and I can adjust the size and stuff like that, and I could place it wherever I want in the image, export it and all that. Okay, so yeah, what I'm trying to say is like the basic advantage of a raw image editor is all these things. Okay, preserves the original image quality, the 24 megapixel of the Fuji X Pro 2. Okay, reversible edits, as in like you see, like I have the watermark here, right? I can go ahead and remove the watermark. It's not like undoing it. I am totally making the effect totally go away. I'm reversing the changes that it did. So I removed the watermark. If you want, I can reapply that. Okay, it's not Control Z and undo and redo stuff. This is like applying something and reversing that. Okay, it's so the advantages are like preserve original image quality, reversible edits. It gives you greater dynamic range because you're working with a raw image file, not a 16-bit file or a 32-bit file or a 8-bit file. Okay, better color and detail if you're going to do a color image, not a monochrome stuff. And it has a very efficient workflow. You saw that, like I can remove a leaf over there in the image. I can do whatever I want, add shadows, this basic curves and stuff like that. If I have to crop the image, I could still crop it. I usually crop for widescreen, so it's going to crop for widescreen here. Okay, just give it a time. It's going to work, but I'm going to take that load of my screen recording on also to my dark table over here. Okay, so it's very efficient workflow, and it is future compatible. Okay, so what happens with Affinity Photo here is, okay, so Affinity Photo here right now I have a older version, which is Affinity Photo 1, and a new Affinity Photo has come, Affinity Photo 2, and there are various version decimal points. Okay, I don't have that update. So if I'm going to have Affinity Photo newer version, first the file will be updated to a newer version here. And what happens in that case is like if I don't have Affinity Photo file in another computer, as in like I only have a older version, I don't get to update that on a Windows machine or something. Okay, I can't open this file, edit file, and send it for printing for an emergency purpose. Okay, do you follow? It's not reverse compatible here. But with Darktable, it only creates a XMP file. In future, even if I update the software, like what all that it would take is the XMP file into consideration, and that's it. All the edits that I did for that particular photograph in Darktable will be there, always available. So raw image editor always has an edge over any other image editor like Photoshop or Affinity Photo or something like that. So all it does is like XMP file have to be updated. That's it, as simple as that, which is 7 KB or 8 KB. Or in few cases, it could be a little more of sizes, but within few KBs. Okay, so raw image editor is future compatible and future proof. I don't have to preserve that software for particular that version, or like maybe the future version, or continue using the same thing. XMP files will work in Lightroom Classic as well. I think it can, if it is possible for all the effects that is available commonly in both the softwares, I think it can import that file also. If I make a correction in Lightroom Classic and try to bring it back in Darktable, I think it might accept that XMP file and apply that images here. So it's future compatible. It can be swapped between softwares. Okay, and it has selective editing tools, as I just showed you. The retouch, the leaf that was there here, we just did and added it. Okay, so I'll show it again. I'll zoom. Okay, so it's working for the zoom. Okay, so here you find a leaf, right? So let me draw a circle here. Okay, so you saw that we did the adjustment. Now the leaf is gone. So like selective editing tools, I can have masks and correct the particular area, brightness, increase the levels, change the color and stuff like that. And it maintains the metadata, as in like like when I export it from Affinity Photo, there are many chances like that the metadata that I have exported, from here can be overwritten with the file that you have. So if I have Affinity Photo, I can change few things on the metadata if possible. Okay, if my editor allows me to do so. Lightroom does that, but most of the raw editors doesn't do any of those things. So it lets you keep whatever that the raw file was, and it will be the same forever. Okay, and all I will be exporting is the JPEG image or the image that I wanted to save. So if I go to the initial screen, okay, and I can go here, the export, and export the file. As simple as that. So raw editor doesn't do anything to your actual file. Okay, it only embeds all the changes into a very small file. It saves you space and does all that for you, and does a very non-destructive image editing. Okay, so we saw the advantage of Silver Efex Pro here. Coming back to Silver Efex Pro, by the topic over here. Okay, so if I open Silver Efex Pro, it is just a simple image editor. Okay, it only accepts 16-bit files, and it mostly accepts only the TIFF file. So you saw the workflow of me doing edit with Affinity Photo. Okay, so with Affinity Photo, I open a file and then say like file plugins, Silver Efex Pro. It's going to open in Silver Efex Pro. Then all the changes that I do in Silver Efex Pro comes back and bake into Affinity Photo. From Affinity Photo, I export the file. So if I am using a Darktable or Lightroom Classic, usually in Lightroom Classic, what you'll do is like you can right click on the image, and it will give you an option to open things in Silver Efex Pro. What it does is, by then, it duplicates the file to a .tiff file. Okay, when it duplicates that file, TIFF file would be having options to be exported in 16-bit or 8-bit. Okay, so then you open the TIFF file in Silver Efex Pro, edit, bake in the changes that you do in Silver Efex Pro, save it back, come back to Lightroom Classic, and export to a JPEG. So it also it adds so much space in your file. So let me show a small example. I'm just going to have to export this for whatever file that I have. Quickly I'll put that to desktop over here and export this image for you. Oh, sorry, I'm exporting it as a JPEG. What I should have done is exporting it as a TIFF and a 16-bit. So if I'm going to export it as a TIFF, I have option to export it as 32-bit, 16-bit, and 8-bit, but I want to export it as 16-bit file. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to export a TIFF file as a 16-bit file. Okay, wait for that to be exported. Let's give some time. My computer takes some time. Okay, so once that is being exported, okay, it'll show up in my desktop. So let's wait for that to show up. Once the message comes here saying that the file has been exported, it'll show up in the desktop. So one file exported to TIFF, to the folder that I have said. So that file is appearing here. So now I can go to Silver Efex Pro, okay, and file, open images. Okay, so then I have to go to desktop and find the TIFF file that I just exported and open it here, and I can go ahead and export, or bake in the desired effects that I want to apply to the file that I want to edit with, or to the look that I want to achieve with this TIFF file. Say like I'm going to apply a modern or some classic look. I like this full contraction structure. I'm just going to save that. Okay, so that TIFF file will be having all the changes that I made with the Silver Efex Pro now baked into the TIFF file. There are TIFF files options, like actually you can have the layers of the edits that you do in Photoshop or Affinity Photo baked into the TIFF file, and later when you open it, it'll give you that. But for now, we are just exporting the changes that we did with Silver Efex Pro, and then I can what I can do is like I can go ahead and drop this TIFF file back into Darktable, and I can go to the Darktable thing and continue my edits. Here with Darktable, you can see like the changes have been applied over here. So for a change, I'll show you the comparison. So this is the original JPEG image that we exported before exporting a TIFF, and that is the changes with the TIFF file. after applying or changes that we baked in from Silver Efex Pro. So it is baked into the TIFF file now. I can still go ahead and make some changes that is needed, and I can go ahead and do the changes and go to light table, apply frame or watermark or whatever changes that I want to do, rate the file. Those are the advantages of raw file. I can color code this, can call it violet. So you can see I have color coded as violet, so all the 5 stars will be color coded as violet or purple, and I will give 5 stars over here for this image. And when I go and classify the image from the folders, I can do that. These are advantages of raw image editors, perks of using raw image editors. So there are so many advantages. I'm just giving you, highlighting a few, and then I'm going to export this as a JPEG image. Okay, when I do that, look at the file size. I'll give you an example here. So what do I have here is 146 MB worth of TIFF file, and what do I have here is a raw file, okay, which is 50 MB, and I also have a XMP file, which is a few KBs. That's of very menial space, disk space. We don't have to worry about that. So what is happening here is you are adding 146 MB of disk space again. If we have to edit it through a raw image editor, bring it back to Silver Efex Pro and do all these things. Okay, so what I am proposing here is this. Okay, if DXO Lab is listening or watching my video, this is what I'm proposing to you. Imagine having a Silver Efex Pro as individual raw image editor. I got excited and I'm just putting it in a full screen. Imagine DXO Labs providing a Silver Efex Pro raw image editor. Okay, so if DXO Lab can provide a Silver Efex Pro raw image editor, imagine how it would be. You can have the advantages of the raw image editor and also apply all the necessary things that is already available in Silver Efex Pro, like viewpoint control things, all the brightness, the brightness, contrast and stuff like that, with intricate adjustment, minute adjustments, curve adjustments, color filter adjustments, color filter tweaking, red, yellow, blue, and all that. And the one what I'm talking about is whatever that is available in the existing Silver Efex Pro, adding frames, adding tones, adding film effects, more importantly adding film looks. So the advantages of using a Silver Efex Pro is also to be more like this, as in it can actually have few other things. Let me pull that for me. It actually has a very good dynamic and tonality control, and it also has a very grain, it has an advanced grain engine, as in it can bake in a particular film look just as the image was shot in a analog film. Okay, this is actually a digital image. It can recreate the look of that particular film, say Ilford HP5, bake into that image in a digital image. Okay, so it has plenty of advantages, as in film emulation, control points, dynamic range and tonality control, customizable presets, just as I showed you, which I had for KAAP, advanced grain engine and all that. Okay, imagine having a Silver Efex Pro that would look like this. I tried to recreate the look of Silver Efex Pro here. Okay, so I'll open it for you. Imagine having a Silver Efex Pro raw image editor. Basically, this is a dark table which I re-edited it for you. So imagine having a Silver Efex Pro raw image editor. We can call it Silver Organized, wherein you will have the folder images and all that. I can copy and add 5 stars, color code the images, copy the effects of one image and apply to other images, like you would do in normal Lightroom Classic or normal Lightroom or Capture One or any other raw image editor, as if even in Darktable. And you can call it Silver Organize, Silver Edit, and Silver Export. Inside Silver Edit, we can have all the best things of Silver Efex Pro, and we can also have all the best things of raw editor, and also a few things from Affinity Photo and Photoshop, as content aware fill, some AI based stuff inside, and more importantly, this Silver Efex Pro is going to be a raw image editor. Okay, so it's not no longer limited to 16-bit. It can edit a raw image. Right now, if I try to import an image from raw image into a Silver Efex Pro, which you find here, it won't import it. You need to convert it into a 16-bit file. Okay, mostly TIFF file. So we are already limiting or destroying a lot of the details that is available in the raw image file. But imagine if it is a raw image editor, it could be amazing. And especially if, like as I called it before, okay, here, what do we, as I called it before, this could be the world's first one and only black and white raw image editor. There are color raw image editors available all over the world. DXO Lab itself has a Photo Lab raw image editor, and there are plenty of raw image editors available all over the world. But imagine there is a dedicated black and white raw image editor. I know what I'm saying is so stupid, because like raw image has all the data as in like color and black and white, but what I'm trying to emphasize here is like having all the goodies of a plugin like Silver Efex Pro, which is limited to 16-bit, but bake into a raw image file in a non-destructive editing format. That will be incredible. So that's the idea that I'm proposing to DXO Labs right now. So if you can create a raw image editor only for Silver Efex Pro, I can guarantee you that you have a customer for lifetime. That would be me. And that much I can give you a guarantee, because I edit all my image in Silver Efex Pro. I love black and white. I love monochrome. I love it. So I wish like this for to happen. I wish there is a raw image editor from as a Silver Efex Pro from DXO as part of Nick collection. The world's first black and white raw image editor. Okay, so that's my wish. Hope this episode was useful. I tried to put everything that I can say here, what I do here, or probably the ones that you already do here. Okay, so a dedicated black and white raw editor would be amazing. Okay, with the goodies of Silver Efex Pro. Okay, if you can do it, that will be amazing. DXO Labs, and to the people in the world photography community, you guys are awesome. This is Alien K, Mr. K signing off. Peace.